Hey there, comic book fans. Another Thursday, and I'm back from the comic shop again. This time with 5 comics, Couple of True Believers, 3 new things. Seems I've been making a lot of videos lately, but I'm having fun making them, so here's one more. Guardians of the Galaxy, #1. Comic shop news. This feels like a thick issue. Usually that means there's 2 issues stuck on there, but I think this is all just one. Yes. All the new stuff that's coming out. We'll see. Look who's applying for guardianship. I'm a big fan of the Steve Gerber and Al Milgrom 1970s Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't care about any other version. I was never into the 90s version. I'm not into today's version. Though the movies were all right. I watched both movies and enjoyed them. But here's the ad. Speaking of ads, something interesting I noticed about Conan #1 that came out today from Marvel. I didn't get it because I don't care about Conan #1 from Marvel. But in the regular edition of Conan #1, when you open it up, there's the sort of pull-out gatefold ad for Marvel, whatever it is, the next thing that's coming out. I can't even remember. But in the variant versions, there was no gatefold ad in it. And that ad just annoys me. You know, because you're reading through your comic and all of a sudden there's an ad that folds out in the middle of it. It wrecks the reading. So, if you're looking to pick up Conan #1 and you don't want that stupid ad in the middle, get one of the variant covers. I don't think I've ever noticed that before, where they didn't put an ad into a variant cover. I mean, why would they not stick the ad in there? I found that interesting, but they didn't. The variant ones that were at my shop had no ad, no gatefold ad in them to get in your way. But meanwhile, here's the real Conan the Barbarian #1. At least the real reprint of it. It's the reprint of the first issue. Roy Thomas and Barry Smith. And I believe they recolored it back to its original flat color. If you were to look at the Dark Horse, I used to have, I got rid of them, the Dark Horse hardcover editions of all the Barry Smith Conan. They recolored all of it. And they put like modern airbrush effects in it and stuff that just looked out of place. I'm guessing they went back to the original flat coloring here. I don't know if they probably had to have it redone. Corey Settlemyer, who's the editor in charge of their Masterworks books for years and years now, always tries to get them to look exactly like they looked when they were first printed. So I'm sure he was if somebody was in charge of making these look as they did, it was him. So I'm glad they didn't go with that Dark Horse coloring, because it was not nearly as good. And there's one, and here's another Conan True Believers. This is the Tower of the Elephant story. What issue is this? Conan #4. I guess this is one of the ones where Barry Smith was really starting to hit his stride with Conan. He was really starting to hit that Barry Smith we know Conan, with all the details and little effects and noodling in the inks. Was it Sal Buscema inked him on this too? So I think that's why they reprinted this one, because it's one of the more famous early Conan stories. But it's cool. You know, they're $1 a piece, so I'm all over these dollar reprints, as you've known this month with the Fantastic Four. And let's see, from my pull list, The Walking Dead 187. Last issue had a real shocker of an ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but there they are at the new place where they're just visiting. You know, I don't want to spoil anything for you Walking Dead fans. And besides, that's Michonne in the suit. Turns out she was a lawyer, Michonne, before the end of the world. So, and we just got your normal Walking Dead stuff there, people talking. There's lots of people talking in The Walking Dead. I know it disappoints a lot of people. They want more zombie fighting, but I've always been okay with the lots of talking, and because that's what The Walking Dead is about. Walking Dead is about the survivors more than it's about the zombies. As Robert Kirkman said in the beginning, it's about what happens after the zombie apocalypse. So, always like it, still reading it. Walking Dead 187. And look, it's an homage cover from Erik Larsen. Savage Dragon 241. That's an homage to whatever issue of the Hulk had the first appearance of Doc Samson in it. This is Captain Tootsie. We got some funnies on the back, too. Savage Dragon, 240 issues and still going strong. Sometimes the Savage Dragon cries. I have no idea what he's crying about. I don't remember, but there's been disaster. Disaster has been happening in the last few issues as these underground creatures came. I think he's in Canada, in Vancouver, maybe, is it? Underground creatures came up and were killing everybody in the city, including his wife, who he's miraculously saved. So you always get a solid superhero story from Erik Larsen and Savage Dragon. So I'm looking forward to this one. Nice split. He's very much a sort of classic Bronze Age illustrator when it comes to his storytelling style. I very much enjoy it. So another issue of Savage Dragon. And I picked up off the shelf this week Hey Kids Comics number 5 by Howard Chaykin. This is the last issue, and I didn't get the first 4. It somehow snuck by me that, because I've been buying Howard Chaykin stuff, and it snuck by me that the first issue came out. I didn't realize it. I think I saw it on Sleepy Reader's video after he got it, and I ended up reading a couple digital issues of it and enjoying it. It's a tough read because there's so many characters in it, and there's so many characters. It's about the history of comics, and there's so many characters who are, stand-ins for actual. There's like a Jack Kirby stand-in, a Stan Lee stand-in. I think there's like a Wally Wood stand-in, a Matt Baker stand-in, a Rob Liefeld stand-in, and it flips back between the 40s, the 60s, and the 2000s, and it was actually tough to follow. But I figured I wanted a physical issue. It just happened to be on the shelf. I missed out on the series. Like I said, I read them digitally, but I wanted an issue, so I liked the artwork as I picked it up. And we'll see how. And it's not a happy story about comic book artists of the past. They're mostly miserable and ripped off. So as you can imagine, it's no fairy tale full of fun fairy dust. It's a bunch of miserable old cartoonists being miserable. But I figured since it was there, I'd get the last issue, and I look forward to reading it. All right, now we're going to show you a little artwork. First, we got a couple of sketch covers I did. These are the a little Who's Who Cyborg. These are the ones where I took an old issue of Who's Who of the DC Universe. That's this one that, before the internet and Wikipedia, we had this. And drew some Cyborg on the front with marker. You can see it goes. You can see the bleed through on the marker, but just felt like doing a little of this, keeping it simple drawing. And we gave you a little word balloon too. Go ahead, make a heavy metal joke. I've heard them all. I was kind of taking the idea of my little cartoon art cards and blowing it up into a sketch cover, which turned out to be a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. I know a magic word. I know lots of magic words. None of them will do you any good. There's the original Captain Marvel, Shazam. These took me way longer to do than I thought they would. It was very annoying, but I'm going to put them up on eBay or Etsy. I'll have my links down below if you're ever looking for something. And finally, another monster face. This is my big drawing. I went away from the sort of hard line stuff, and now this is all done with a brush. So that's all black on white. So I've got to build up all that ink on there to get those sort of lines and forms. So it's a sort of a much different technique than I was using. And you see that it gets shiny because there's a lot of ink on there. Look at that shine on it. But one of my monsters' faces, got a little Little bang in his eye, little monster hair going in front of his eye, nice sharp teeth that really glow because everything else is so dark. But there you go. Sort of one of my big ink drawings with no line in it. All shapes, all built up shapes from little busted brush drawing. Okay, and you guys all have a good week out there.